victories of Fortunato.
I had borne as best I could.
But when he ventured upon insult,
I vowed revenge.
You, who so well know the nature of my soul, will not suppose, however, that I gave utterance to a threat. At length I would be avenged.
This was a point, definitively settled, but the very definitiveness of which it was resolved precluded the idea of risk.
I must not only punish, but punish with impunity.
A wrong is unredressed when retribution overtakes its redresser.
It must be understood that neither by word nor deed had I given this Fortunato a cause to doubt my goodwill.
I continued, as was my wont, to smile in his face, and he did not suspect that my smile now was at the thought of his immolation. He had a weak point.
This Fortunato.
although he was a man to be respected and even feared,
He prided himself on his connoisseurship in wine.
few Italians have the true virtuoso spirit.
For the most part, their enthusiasm was adopted to suit the time and opportunity to practice imposture. In painting and gemmery, Fortunato, like his other countrymen, was a quack. And in his wines, he was sincere.
In this respect, I did not differ from him materially. I was skillful in the Italian vintages myself, and bought largely whenever I could.
It was about dusk one evening, during the supreme madness of carnival season, that I encountered my friend.
He accosted me with excessive warmth, for he had been drinking much.
I was so pleased to see him.
My dear Fortunato, you are luckily met. How remarkably well you are looking today. But I have received a pipe of what passes for Amontillado, and I have my doubts.
How? Amontillado? A pipe? Impossible. And in the middle of carnival?
I have my doubts, and I was silly enough to pay the full price without consulting you in the matter. You were not to be found, and I was fearful of losing a bargain.
Amontillado?
I have my doubts,
Amontillado?
and I must satisfy them.
Amontillado?
As you are engaged, I'm on my way to Lucchese. If anyone has a critical turn, it is he. He will tell me.
Lucchese cannot tell Amontillado from Sherry.
And yet some fools will have it that his taste is a match for your own.
Come, let us go.
Whither?
To your vaults.
My friend, no. I will not oppose upon your good nature, as I perceive you have an engagement, Lucchese.
Come, let us go. I have no engagement.
My friend, no. It is not the engagement, but the severe cold with which I perceive you are afflicted. The walls are insufferably damp. They are encrusted with nitre.
Let us go, nevertheless. The cold is a mere nothing. Amontillado, that you have been imposed upon, and as for Lucchese, he cannot tell Amontillado from Sherry.
Archway to the vaults.
The pipe?
It is farther on. but observe the white webwork which gleams from these cavern walls.
Niter,
Niter, how long have you had that cough?
it is nothing.
Come, we will go back. Your health is precious. You are rich, respected, admired, beloved. You are happy as once I was. You are a man to be missed. For me, it is no matter. We will go back. You will be ill, and I cannot be responsible. Besides, there is Lucchese.
Enough. The cough is a mere nothing. The cough will not kill me. I shall not die of a cough.
True, true. And indeed, I had no intention of alarming you unnecessarily. But you must use all proper caution while in these vaults. A draught of Medoc will help defend us from the damps. Drink,
I drink to the buried that repose around us.
and I to your long life.
These vaults are extensive.
The Montresors were a great, numerous family.
I forget your arms.
A huge human foot door in a field azure. The foot crushes a serpent rampart whose fangs are embedded in the heel.
And the motto?
Nemo me impune lassit.
Good.
The nitre, seed increases. It hangs like moss upon the vaults. We are below the river's bed. The drops of moisture trickle among the bones. Come, we will go back ere it is too late.
Enough. Let us go. But first, another jaunt of Medoc. You do not comprehend?
Not I.
So you are not of the Brotherhood.
How?
You are not of the Masons.
Yes, 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 yes.
You! Impossible. A Mason?
A mason.
A sign.
It is this.
You jest, but let us proceed to the Amontillado.
Herein is the Amontillado. As for Lucchese,
He is an ignoramus.
pass your hand over the wall. You cannot help feeling the nitre. Indeed, it is very damp. Once more, let me implore you to return. No? Then I must positively leave you. But first, let me render all the little attentions in my power.
The Amontillado.
True, the Amontillado.
Ha. An excellent joke indeed. We'll have a rich laugh about this at the plaza. Over our wine.
The Amontillado.
Ha. Yes, the Amontillado. But isn't it getting late? Won't we be missed at the plaza? The Lady Fortunato and the rest. Let us be gone.
Yes, let us be gone.
For the love of God, Fortunato!
Yes, for the love of God. Fortunato. Fortunato.
Rest in peace.
Once upon a midnight dreary.
While I pondered, weak and weary, many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore.
While I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as of someone gently rapping at my chamber door.
"'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. "Only this, and nothing more." Ah, distinctly I remember. It was in the bleak December.
And each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor.
Eagerly I wished the morrow. Vainly I had sought to borrow.
For my books surcease of sorrow, sorrow for the lost Lenore.
For the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels name Lenore. Nameless here, forevermore.
And the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of each purple curtain.
Thrill me, fill me with fantastic terrors never felt before.
so that now to still the beating of my heart stood repeating.
'Tis some visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door.
Some late visitor entreating entrance at my chamber door.
This it is, and nothing more.
Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer.
Sir, said I, or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore. But the fact is I was nothing, and so gently you came rapping. And so faintly you came tapping, tapping at my chamber door.
Then I scarce was sure I heard you.
Here I opened wide the door.
Darkness there, and nothing more.
Deep into that darkness peering, long stood there, wondering, fearing.
Doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before.
But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token.
And the only word that was spoken was the whispered word, Lenore.
This I whispered, and an echo murmured back the word, Lenore!
Merely this and nothing more.
Back into the chamber churning, all my soul within me burning. Soon again I heard a tapping, somewhat louder than before.
Surely, said I, surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see then what thereat is, and this mystery explore. Let my heart be still a moment, and this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind, and nothing more.
Open here I flung the shutter, when with many a flirt and flutter, in there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore.
Not the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed, but with mine of lord a lady, perched above my chamber door.
Perched above a vast palace, just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more.
Then this ebony bird beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, by the grave and stern decorum of the countenance it wore.
Though thy crest be shorn and shaven, said I, arch or no craven, ghastly, grim, and ancient raven wandering from the nightly shore, tell me what thy lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore.
Quoth the raven, nevermore.
Much I marveled this ungainly fowl here discoursed so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being ever yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door. Bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, with such name as nevermore.
But the raven sitting lonely on the placid bust spoke only
That one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour.
But the silence was broken, and the stillness gave no token, and the only word there spoken.
On the morrow he will leave me, and my hopes have flown before.
Then the bird said, nevermore.
Startled at the stillness broken, by reply so aptly spoken, doubtless, said I, what it utters is only stock in store.
Caught from some unhappy master, whom unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster till his songs one burden bore.
Till the dirges of his hopes that melancholy burden bore of never, nevermore.
Raven, still beguiling, all my fancy into smiling. Straight I wheeled the cushioned seat in front of bird and bust and door.
Then, upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself thinking, fancy, unto fancy, thinking, on this bird's door.
What this grim, ungainly, ghastly, gaunt, and ominous bird of yours, mint and croaking, nevermore.
This I sat, engagedly guessing, but no syllable expressing, to the fowl whose fiery eyes now burned into my bosom's core.
Thus and more I sat divining, with my head at peace reclining, on the cushion's velvet linings that the lamplight gloated o'er.
But whose velvet violet linings, with the lamplight gloated o'er, she shall rest. Nevermore.
Ah, then methought the air grew denser, swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled on the touch of
Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee, respite, respite, and nepenthe from thy memories of the north. Quaff, oh quaff, this kind nepenthe, I forget this lost Lenore.
Quaff, oh quaff, this kind nepenthe, I forget the lost Lenore.
Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, being of evil, prophet still if bird or devil, whether tempter sent, whether temptest us, thee here ashore.
Desolate, yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted. Tell me truly I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me I implore.
Woe of the raven, nevermore.
Prophets and I, think of evil, prophets still, bird or devil, by the heaven that bends above us, and by the God who goes door. Tell the soul with sorrow laden, if with the midst of ages, it shall pass the sainted maiden, with the angel's names renowned. Pass for rare and radiant maiden, in the angel's name of the world.
Quoth the raven, nevermore.
Be that word or sign of parting, bird or fiend that shriek, upstarting. Set thee back into the tempest on the night Tritonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thy soul hath spoken. Take thy beak from out my heart, and take thy form from out my door.
Quoth the raven, nevermore.
But the raven, never flitting, still is sitting.
Still it's sitting.
On the pallid bust of the palace, just above my chamber door. And his eyes like all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming.
And the lamplight
O'er
o'er
the streaming
throws
throws
a
a
shadow
shadow
on
on
the
the
floor.
floor.
And his
Loud.
soul from
From
out
out
that
that
shadow
shadow
that
that
was
was
floating on the floor
shall be lifted.
Nevermore!
True, nervous, very, very dreadfully nervous that I've been and am. But why will you say that I am mad? The disease had sharpened my senses, not destroyed, not dulled them. Above all was a sense of hearing acute. I heard many things. I heard all things in heaven and in the earth. I heard many things in hell. Hearken and observe how healthily, how calmly I can tell you the whole story.
It is impossible to say how the idea first entered my brain, but once conceived, it haunted me day and night. Object, there was none. Passion, there was none.
I loved the old man.
He
He had never wronged me. He had never given me insult. For his gold I had no desire.
I think it was his eye.
Yes, it was this. One of his eyes resembled that of a vulture, a pale blue eye with a film over it.
Whenever it fell upon me, my blood ran cold. And so, by degrees, very gradually, I made up my mind to take the life of the old man, and thus rid myself of the eye.
Forever.
Now this is the point. You fancy me mad men know nothing, but you should have seen me.
You should have seen me.
You should have seen how wisely I proceeded, with what caution, with what foresight, with what simulation I went to work.
I was never kinder to the old man than during the whole week before I killed him. And each night, about midnight, I turn the latch on his door, oh, so gently. And when I had made an opening sufficient for my head, I put in a dark lantern, all closed so that no light shone out. And then I thrust in my head.
You would have laughed to see how cunningly I thrust it in.
I moved it slowly,
Very, very slowly, so that I might not disturb the old man's sleep.
It took me an hour to place my whole head within the opening, so far that I could see him as he lay upon his bed.
Ha! Would a madman have been as wise as this?
And then, when my head was well in the room, I undid the lantern, cautiously,
Oh, so cautiously.
for the hinges creaked.
And when I did just enough so that a single thin ray fell upon the vulture eye.
And this I did for 7 long nights. Every night, just at midnight. But I found that the eye was always closed, and so it was impossible to do the work. For it was not the old man who had vexed me, but his evil eye.
And every morning when the day broke, I went boldly into his chamber and spoke courageously to him, calling him by name in a hearty tone, and inquiring how he had passed the night.
So you see, he would have been a very profound old man indeed, to suspect that every night, just at 12, I looked in upon him while he slept.
Upon the 8th night, I was more than usually cautious in opening the door. A watcher's minute hand moved more quickly than did mine. Never before that night had I felt the extent of my own powers.
Powers.
I could scarcely contain my feelings of triumph.
Triumph.
To think, there I was, opening a door, little by little, and he not even dream of my secret deeds or thoughts. Ha ha! I fairly chuckled.
And perhaps he heard me, for he moved suddenly on the bed, as if startled.
But you may think that I drew back, but no.
His room was black as a pitch with a thick darkness.
I knew that he could not
See the opening of the door, and I
so I
kept
pushed
pushing
on steadily.
Steadily. Once I had pushed the door open, just enough to stick my head in. I peered in upon the old man, but the lantern creaked.
And the man rose up from his bed so suddenly, yelling,
Who's there? I stood quite still and said nothing.
For a
Whole hour I did not move a muscle, and in the meantime I did not hear him lie down. He was still sitting up in the bed, listening, just as I have done, night after night, hearkening to the death watches in the wall.
when all the world slept. It has welled up from my own bosom, deep in it, with its dreadful echo, the terrors that distracted me.
I say I knew it well.
I knew what the old man felt.
I pitied him.
I chuckled at heart.
I knew he'd been lying awake ever since the first slight noise when he turned onto his side.
Fears were growing upon him.
It's just the wind in the chimney. It's only a mouse crossing the floor. It's merely a cricket which has made a single chirp.
Trying to comfort yourself? All in vain! All in vain!
I'd waited a long time, very patiently, without hearing him lie down. And so I resolved to open a very, very little crevice in the lampshade. You cannot imagine how stealthily,
It was open.
I grew furious. I gazed upon it. I saw it.
All a dull blue with a hideous veil over it that chilled the very marrow in my bones.
I could see nothing of the old man's face, for I had directed the ray, as if by instinct, precisely upon the damned spot.
Then I heard a sound, quick, dull sound, such as a watch makes, enveloped in cotton.
I knew that sound well too.
This increased my fury to uncontrollable terror.
It was the beating of the old man's heart.
This increased my fury as the beating of the drum stimulates the soldier into courage.
It grew louder, I say, louder every moment. Do you mark me well? I've told you that I am nervous.
So am I.
A new anxiety seized me. The sound would be heard by a neighbor. The old man's hour had come. The old man was dead.
He was stone dead.
If still you think me mad, you will think so no longer when I describe the wise precautions I took for the concealment of the body. The night waned, and I worked hastily in silence.
I deposited all between 3 floorboards.
I then replaced the board so cleverly,
So cunningly that no human eye, not even his, could have detected anything wrong. There was no mark.
spot whatsoever, no stain of any kind. I've been too weary for this. A shriek has been heard by a neighbor.
There is suspicion of foul play.
Information has been lodged at the police station.
We
are here to search the premises.
What had I to fear?
The shriek,
My own dream.
the old man,
In the country.
Search well.
His chamber.
I showed them his treasures. I brought chairs into the room.
And I, in the wild audacity of my perfect triumph, placed my own seat upon the very spot beneath which reposed the corpse of the old man.
we are satisfied.
My
manner had convinced them.
We sat,
We
chatted.
But I felt myself getting pale.
We sat.
Sat, we chatted.
It continued.
My head ached.
We sat, we chatted.
I argued about trifles.
I talked more freely to get rid of it, but it continued. We sat.
We chatted.
It was a low, dull, quick sound.
Like such, the sound that a watch makes when enveloped in cotton.
We sat, we chatted, we smiled.
Had they not heard? Almighty God, no, no, they
heard.
They knew. They were making a mockery of my horror.
Anything was better than this agony.
Anything was more tolerable.
I felt as I must scream or die.
And now, again, hark! Louder.
Louder. Louder.
Louder!
Villains! I admit to the deed! Tear up the floorboards and there you shall find the beating of his hideous heart!